Hi guys, this is Nikki, aka the Dragon Queen, and today I'm going to review the Lunar Chronicle series. I'm going to be doing all of the books but Winter because I'm still reading that book, but I wanted to do the other ones so I didn't give anything away. Now I will give you a warning before I go into the next one because there might be spoilers. I'm going to try to remember as much as possible. However, I have a horrible memory, just so you're aware. And I don't want to ruin it for anybody, so just keep in mind this is going to have some spoilers potentially. So the Lunar Chronicle series is a bestseller young adult book, and it is a science fiction mixed with fantasy. The first book is Cinder. Cinder is a girl who is 36% robot. Now, the way Cinder is based off of Cinderella, and when you're reading the book, you can tell a lot about how that Cinderella story actually takes place into this world. It's a very interesting concept because it's in the future, and Cinder has the whole dad thing, and her father dies, and her stepmother hates her, and she has an evil stepsister, and all that stuff. And then there's a Prince Charming or Prince Kai. So it's really interesting to see that all unfold in a different light. We all know the Cinderella story, and they put a play on the glass slipper kind of thing where the glass slipper falls off. And I really enjoy that in this book, and I really enjoy how each part is slightly different, and instead of a cleaning person, she's a mechanic, and I like that. It's a very nice change of pace where a girl main character is doing something that normally females wouldn't do, which is being a mechanic. Now, there are female mechanics, I'm not saying that, I'm saying that it's normally a masculine job. Cinder meets in her friend Aiko and her sister Peony. They are all friends, and you watch as this disease, lumatosis, takes over the world basically and slowly kills people. And Cinder is forced to help find the cure. And she finds out something very interesting. She finds out that she is Princess Celine. Princess Celine is the princess that was supposedly killed a decade ago. That is the rightful heir and queen to Luna, which is the moon, basically. So the Queen Levana, who is the queen currently of Luna, she is her aunt, and she doesn't know any of this yet. She just slowly learns everything. And you see her try to save the prince, and you see her get captured. That's Cinder. So now we're going to do Scarlet, which is book 2. Now, Scarlet is based off of Little Red Riding Hood. There is a fun twist that her grandmother is missing. Instead of the wolf eating her, it's a different perspective. There is a character named Wolf involved, and he is a lunar special operative who was created mixed with a beast, mixed with wolf, and he becomes known as Wolf. You learn she's very spunky, she's very excited, she's very sturdy, and she likes to fix things on her own, and she tries to save her grandmother on her own because nobody else wants to help. So you watch her go through this, and then you also see Cinder, who has now met Thorn in the prison, and Cinder has to escape. And so on one side you're seeing Scarlet and Wolf, or Scarlet and then eventually Wolf, and then on the other side you're seeing Cinder and Thorn, and you're watching them all go through to escape, and eventually they meet, and Scarlet saves Cinder, and they all help each other out, and vice versa. Cinder saves Scarlet. Sorry. So this was a really good book. It was really fast. As soon as I finished this book, I immediately went and grabbed the next book. I needed to know what happened to Thorn, what happened to Cinder, what happened to Scarlet, what happened to Wolf, what happened to everybody. I needed to know. So, also in that book, Queen Lavanna is trying to trick now Emperor Kai into marrying her so that she can become the Empress of the Earth. Then book 3 is Cress. Now, I finished reading book 3 in literally one day. It took me one day to finish this bad boy. Cress is based off Rapunzel. Cress or Crescent is a lunar who is a shell. And what a shell is they don't have the ability to be controlled, and they don't have any magical powers. So they're dangerous because they can't be controlled by the lunar society. Lunars have magical powers that can control other people and their thoughts. So they're very dangerous. And they risked they lied and said that the reason was because the Lunars, well, you find that out in Fairest, but they lie and for their reasoning as why they kidnapped the Lunars, or the shells. So Cress was her parents were told that she was killed, and she was actually trapped in a satellite. And that satellite floated around Earth, and she was responsible for basically hacking into everything and hiding the ships from Earth. And people believed that Lunars could hide the ship from Earth, that they could sheathe the ship from satellites and from human eye. But it was actually Crescent, or Cress, doing this the entire time. And she would shy the satellites away. So it was a fun twist on that. And that's very much like Rapunzel, or as Tangled. She has the long hair, but it's not as long. And it's very messy, and she has something to hide. And she basically is stuck in her tower and can't leave. And the only person that can come get her is her mistress, Sybil. And they lie and say that they're doing this for their own good and that they saved them and blah, blah, blah. So Cinder and Crescent talked in the first book, and that's how Cinder knew that Emperor Kai was going to die if Lavanna got married to him. So Crescent and Cinder have already been talking, and now they're trying to talk again, and then Cinder wants to come save Crescent, or come get Crescent. So Cress is all like, heck yeah, come and get me. But of course there's a hiccup, and her mistress finds out. So when her mistress finds out, she lays a trap out, and Cress and Thorn get trapped on the satellite, and the satellite goes crashing down to the Earth. So now when the satellite crashes, everybody assumes that they're dead. Cinder got in a fight with Sybil then, and then Scarlet got taken by Sybil. But they in return got her guard, Jason. So, long story short, now you have 3 points of views that you need to follow. You're following Cinder, Wolf, Jason, and they're following Scarlet with Sybil, and then you're also following Emperor Kai, and then you're also following Thorn and Cress. So it's getting really confusing at this point, so there's a lot going on, so you definitely need to read it. I'm probably not explaining it very well, but Cress and Thorn get to know each other. Cress has a major crush on Thorn already. She's hacked everything about him and knows everything about him, and he's just slowly crushing her belief on him. And then she comes to find they have to go and save the Emperor. So that's the plan. So the Emperor finally agreed to marry Queen Lavanna against everybody's wishes, because Lavanna sent all the wolves creatures to attack the Earth. So thousands and thousands of people died in only hours, and the only way to stop it was to agree to marry her. So he did. And Cinder was not having that, because not only does she like him, but she knows what it means. She knows he'll die if they get married. So she decides that she needs to go to Luna and cause a revolution to prove to them that she's their rightful queen. Because if she has Luna on her side, then it'll be easier to overtake Queen Lavanna before she's crowned. So what she does is she kidnaps the Emperor. So now they're kidnapped in space. Queen Lavanna's pissed. There's wars everywhere. And that's where it ends. It was a humongous cliffhanger, honestly. So they have to find out what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, how they're going to infiltrate Luna, how Queen Lavanna is going to handle it or take it, how the Emperor is going to stay alive if Kai and Cinder or Princess Celine end up getting married and create Luna and Earth as a combined situation. And there's a lot that needs to be closed, which is probably why it's 800 books in the last book. So that was Cress. Winter, I'm in the process of reading, so I can't tell you anything about that, but I'm looking forward to knowing. What I will tell you is Fairest. This goes into detail about Queen Lavanna before she was the queen. This goes into her childhood. Now, honestly, her family is messed up. Like, they are really messed up. And evidently some of this comes into Winter. But her parents were fine, but they died when she was young. And when she was even younger, her sister forced her, using her lunar abilities, into a fire. So she, like, all throughout the series, Queen Lavanna has been known to never hide or get out of her glamour, which is what she uses to make herself look beautiful. And she uses that against everybody. And people are confused as to what she really looks like, and everybody whispers that she's hideous. Well, the truth is, she was in a fire, and like half of her face is burned in her arm, and her hair won't grow, and her eyes shut. So she's hideous because of a fire. And she grew up with her older sister calling her ugly and insulting her and being rude. And when her parents died, her sister became queen because she's the oldest, or the eldest. And she had this nasty upbringing with her sister, where her sister was just like not interested in being queen at all. She didn't give a shit. She's just like, whatever. And she would just brush off all the important decisions. And Lavanna was actually really intrigued by those decisions and wanted to know more about the economy and help her country grow. And the queen would just go flirt with everybody and sleep around so she could get pregnant and not know who the father was of the baby. Like, that's what she wanted. Well, Lavanna, on the other hand, was always glamored, and she wasn't naturally pretty, and she was always teased and made fun of. And there was one person who was nice to her, and that was a guard. And this guard gave her a present one time, and she took that as he liked her. So Lavanna basically encouraged that to keep happening, and he was just being nice because it's his princess. He's supposed to be nice. He's a guard. What else is he supposed to do? And she kept thinking that meant he liked her, and that meant he loved her. And slowly, even though he was refuting because he was married, when his wife died and he had a little girl left, she died in childbirth, Lavanna used that as an opportunity to get into his life. And she took the form of his wife, which is just disgusting, and basically tricked him using her own mental abilities to make him have feelings for her. But the problem with the lunar gift is it doesn't make you have feelings. It makes you think you're having feelings only when you're being manipulated. So when you're not being manipulated, you know that it's, or even when you are, you know it's wrong. You know you don't want to do it. You know that's not what you're feeling, but you do it anyway, and you can't control yourself. So he would kiss her, and he would hold her hands, and he would say things, but he wouldn't feel them. He wouldn't actually want those things. Eventually, she convinced him by basically not giving him a chance or a choice that he could marry her. And she tricked herself into believing that she was giving him a choice, because he could have said no, because she wasn't mentally manipulating him at that moment. But he knew deep down that he couldn't say no, so they got married. And the book goes through the next 10 years of her and him being married. I keep saying him because I don't remember his name, but her and him being married, and her just wanting him to love her back, and him just wanting her to let him go. And their daughter, or his daughter growing up, who's this beautiful little girl who doesn't need glamour, which just hurts Levana more, deeper. And you see, before all that, though, the queen had a daughter, and that was Celine. Now, Celine was beautiful, and Celine was going to be the queen, and then the sister, the queen, got sick, so she ended up dying. And while she was raising Celine and Twilight, or not Twilight, I keep saying that, Celine and Winter, Levana became queen, but it was temporary. She was only going to be queen until Celine was 13 and could step into the role of queen. And Levana slowly realized she didn't want to give it up. She didn't want to give up being queen. She was going to stay with it. She was better at it. She was helping the economy. So why would she give it up to somebody who was just going to be a royal spoiled brat, just like everybody else in her family? So it finally got to a point where she did something horrible, and she made the nanny light a fire and go to sleep with Princess Celine, and Princess Celine got burned. And to her knowledge, Princess Celine was killed. But there was some rumors, and there was a little bit of hints that she didn't die, but she was pronounced dead. And that kind of leads to Cinder, because Cinder was, from the age of 3 to 11, has no memory. And that's because she was in a stasis tube on life support, basically, becoming who she is today so that she could survive, so that Princess Celine could come back. But she was given a different name, and she was put in a family so that nobody would know who she truly was. And her gifts were blocked so that she didn't even know that she had the lunar powers. So you see all this in this book as to why Levana becomes who she is today, how angry she is, and why she hides her true self, and who her true love is. And even though she wants to marry Emperor Kai, she really just wants an heir, because all she has is her stepdaughter, Winter, who isn't royal blood. So in her head, she knows now that Celine is alive. She needs to kill Celine. She needs to get married so that she has the earth. And she needs to get pregnant so she has an heir to the throne. Otherwise, it goes to somebody else's hands, and they're going to destroy Lunar. That's what she's afraid of. So this book was really good, and it was like dark and kind of scary in some aspects of how their minds worked, but it gives you so many details, and it explains so much about all the other books, and you're like, that makes so much more sense. It kind of clicks. So if you haven't read this book, read it. And I mean, obviously, if you're watching this, you've probably read it already, so I don't know, but this was a spoiler alert, so I hope I didn't ruin anything for you. But overall, this series is really good. I'm really enjoying it. I can't wait to finish Winter and find out what happened. And I hope you enjoy it. If you've read the Lunar Chronicle series, let me know down below who your favorite character is. Let me know if I missed anything, or if it's not your favorite series, let me know why. Or let me know what your favorite series is. Just chat down below. I need to talk. I need somebody to talk to, people. Go comment. Anyway, this has been a really long video. Probably it's my longest so far. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.